Taika Waititi has gotten himself in a lot of trouble after a bold and shocking statement about his projects with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This statement has resulted in some harsh turn of events for the director of Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder, like being booted from the Marvel franchise. However, this news is neither surprising nor sudden, because it was expected from the franchise to take such a step after what he has claimed about them during a podcast. Now, we all know that Waititi has been at a career low for quite some time now, especially after being laid off from some mega projects with his most renowned clients, like the MCU and then the Star Wars franchise. The reason behind his downfall is apparent in both cases. First off, Waititi imagines himself in the list of top-tier directors with legends like Christopher Nolan and Martin Scorsese. He started directing the films however he liked, having no idea of what would follow or how the movies would be received. Well, such an attitude was definitely unacceptable for the movies based on widely popular comics, and perhaps that is why Thor fans have been disappointed with him for quite some time. The situation worsened because of his immature and triggering statements regarding his projects from the MCU. During the direction of Thor 4, Waititi gave an interview revealing how he had no interest in directing a Marvel movie, and that he only took the job of directing Thor Ragnarok because he was poor and it was a great opportunity to feed his kids. Waititi revealed during the Smartless podcast that he would not have cared to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe had it not been backed by a good amount of money. Well, this kind of attitude was not well received by Marvel fans, who seriously expected a more mature and sensible statement from a man in charge of their favorite franchise. But their expectations were shattered when Taika called Thor one of the least popular franchises in the MCU, revealing how baffled he was to take on the project. I never read Thor comics as a kid. That was the comic I'd pick up and be like, ugh. And then I did some research on it, and I read one Thor comic, or 18 pages, or however long they are. I was still baffled by this character. This was just an absurd way to speak against a project that he had been working on himself as a director, and Waititi should obviously have realized the fact. However, he went on bashing the MCU's conditions, revealing that he was only brought in for the job because Marvel had no choice. I think there was no place left for them to go with that. I thought, well, they've called me in. This is really the bottom of the barrel. Well, this claim sounds completely absurd, considering a universe as popular as the MCU would not have any difficulty rounding up a crew for their movies. Not to mention, Taika Waititi was the fourth director signed by Marvel to direct and write films for the franchise. And this indicates that the Marvel franchise did not just desperately hire him for the job. He directed many movies, including Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok, and Thor Love and Thunder, alongside several other shorts for Marvel. Moreover, Waititi also wrote and directed the Marvel one-shot Team Thor Part 1, Marvel one-shot Team Thor Part 2, and Marvel one-shot Team Daryl. He also portrayed different characters in the films, including Korg, which was in Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder, as well as Avengers Endgame. The franchise even went as far as handing him the next Thor project, even after his film Thor Ragnarok had just been thrashed for a poor direction. However, despite this much favor from Marvel, his statement reflected how ungrateful he has been to the franchise. Perhaps that is why Marvel Studios asked the director to pack up his things and leave the sets when he was in the middle of directing Thor 4. Well, that was an obvious course of action taken by Marvel management, and this decision was a piece of great news for the majority of Marvel fans, as they cherished Waititi's pack-up from Marvel's projects. Why so? Let's see. First off, If he had not disappointed the fans in Love and Thunder with his absurd co-writing and directing of a constantly changing script that was filled with just an array of monotonous and effortless jokes that seemingly existed to undercut nearly every potential serious moment in the movie, then perhaps the people would not have been disappointed with him. And that is not an overstatement, because there was loads of silliness existing in the movie that made it feel like a comedy. Not to mention the God of Thunder being a complete and total moron, which was an utter injustice to actual character and the storylines the movie was based on. Isn't the concept of a superhero film to have lots of action and thrill in it? Instead, the sequel never had that thrill and charisma, thanks to the ridiculous direction of Taika Waititi. Moreover, the lack of effort and attention to the actual plot ended up sabotaging the presence of Christian Bale in his iconic villainous avatar, which could have served a lot, if not wasted, due to a lack of screen time and proper build-up. Talk about messing up big time. Well, it seems like Taika was serious about not giving a damn about the movies or the character's reputation. Perhaps that is the reason he was unaware of the mess he was creating, even when it was quite evident to everyone else, including the face of the franchise, Chris Hemsworth. Chris revealed how he got caught up in the improv and the wackiness, and became a parody of himself, and he didn't stick the landing. Chris Hemsworth also seems really frustrated with his character portrayal in Thor: Love and Thunder, as he said that his fourth solo movie for the franchise was too silly for its own good. Sometimes, I feel like a security guard for the team. I would read everyone else's lines and go, oh, they got way cooler stuff. They're having more fun. What's my character doing? It was always about, you've got the wig on, you've got the muscle, you've got the costume. Where's the lighting? Yeah, I'm part of this big thing, but I'm probably pretty replaceable. Chris Hemsworth pointed out that he felt himself easily replaceable, as all the other roles had strong character lines. These concerns show that even the lead actor of the film was highly unsatisfied with Taika Waititi's poor direction. Why am I doing this film? Why isn't the script better? Why didn't that director call me for that? Or why didn't I get considered for this role? Why don't I get the call-up from Scorsese or Tarantino? I had begun to take it all too seriously and too personally. Now, if the main character of your directed movie feels irrelevant to the storyline, then you have messed up big time. Taika made Chris Hemsworth and the fans miserable with a bad script and an even worse direction. Well, it is true that only one of the 4 Thor films have received positive reviews, but honestly, none of the other parts had such a worse tone. So, all in all, it is a sigh of relief for the fans that Waititi has finally let go of the franchise for good. The chances of Waititi's return as director have died completely, as there have been news from inside sources during the recent Comic-Con that Marvel has fired him. While this leaves a void for the next director to fill Waititi's shoes, the fans have never been so excited to anticipate who the next director will be for Thor 5 and more projects from Marvel. However, they do hope for one thing from Marvel: to hire a director who has been exceptional with superhero films in the past, so that the Marvel projects get reincarnated once again.